Hi everybody, and welcome to Crimson Court Abridged. This is an abridged version of the session, and I will be posting one of these every single week after each session, probably on Wednesday or Thursday. The abridged sessions, my hope is for them to be anywhere between 40 minutes to an hour long, depending on what happens in the session. This is a way for you to catch up and be able to be there for the live stream without having to catch up on about 4 hours worth of D&D session. So with that, Crimson Court Abridged, hope you enjoy. We're going to go ahead and dive right in to what's happening with Rainier. So, our session starts in the Grand Healing Chamber of Dragon's End. It's currently awash with an eerie blue glow. It's punctuated by these sudden flashes of blue lightning that scorch the vaulted ceilings. There's this acrid smell of ozone that mingles with the sweet incense of healing herbs and the metallic tang of blood. And on the central stone altar, Rainier Falkrest thrashes against his restraints. His bronze scales dulled with grime and blood, his chest rising and falling irregular. These pained gasps, each labored breath. It sends another arc of lightning from his mouth, illuminating the worried faces of the clerics who dart back and forth like frightened birds. Wessler Weber's deep voice cuts through the chaos as he places a broad green hand on Rainier's chest, one of the 3 heads of the Church of Unity. The golden symbol embroidered on his multicolored robe shimmer as he channels another healing spell.
The magic, it's being rejected. I've never seen anything like this.
Lady Solara Astralor studies the severed stump where Rainier's hand once was. Her luminescent blue eyes narrow in concentration.
The wound pattern, it's unnatural. Whatever did this, it wasn't just trying to kill him.
Her slender fingers hover over the injury, the silver white skin catching the blue light.
It's almost like it was trying to unmake a part of him.
Wessler steps back, wiping the sweat from his brow.
I fear traditional restoration won't be enough, Lady Astralor. Perhaps you could try artificing something.
And there's another violent convulsion. Rainier's eyes fly open, and he says, "Away!" And bolts of lightning shoot from his mouth out into the ceiling, causing these black scorch marks to form on the stone. Lightning surges from his throat, and the clerics next to him duck down onto the ground, hoping to avoid any injury. And at that point, that is what all of you last hear. The doors swinging open as the Crown Claw Knights standing guard open the door for you, and Solara looks up.
Thank the gods. King's hand.
And the chamber falls silent as all of you enter. You can see Merrick Solara shares a very long look with you first and foremost, but then relief at all of your siblings arriving. As all of you had been immediately shook from your beds. The banging on the doors by Master Brigsby, as well as several Crown Claw Knights demanding that you get up and head here now. You can see that as you all enter, the chamber falls silent. One of the younger clerics rushes forward, desperate hope in her eyes, rushing towards all of you.
My lords and ladies, our magic fails, whatever afflicts him. I don't know if...
And you can see Wessler, one of the heads of the Church of Unity, like I said before, he puts a hand on her shoulder and says,
"It's all right. Perhaps the reason you all were called here on top of him, well, being your uncle, we know it is not by blood, he is your family, but perhaps as family, you might be able to make some connection to him. He seems distant, removed. It's hard to explain."
And you can see in this moment, unsure of what exactly to do, this is a skill challenge for all of you. Outside of the mechanics that are on your sheet, you're level 2. Wessler Weber is a 10th to 12th level cleric mechanically, but his healing magic is not working on Rainier. So, pushing aside mechanics, right, for a moment, thinking about what you might be able to do to help Rainier. However, if there are not enough successes, if there are no successes, and if they're by a very slim margin, there is a chance that Rainier will not live on this night.
Whoa.
So it's up to you to make sure that Rainier survives.
Edwin is going to kind of walk forward hastily, kneel down, and quickly like put his hands on Rainier's shoulders and kind of get closer to him to say, Uncle, if you can hear my voice, fight. What I want to do is I'm going to message you. He's gonna do that, and he's also going to use a channel divinity to divine spark, which increases his healing. And he's also going to cast Cure Wounds. Now I know that I know Cure Wounds isn't actually going to work, right? But this is Edwin attempting to pour basically his life force into his uncle, and as he does, he once again kind of grabs dirt from the ground and smears it on his hands and places his hands on the wounds and says, do you remember the time in the courtyard where you tried to train me with a sword? Do you remember that? How insufficient I was with that weapon. I was never truly good with the blade. Which is probably best why I'm a healer now. Do you remember, Uncle?
All of you see Edwin kind of fumbling through his bag for a moment, and you can tell he's trying to conceal something. As he brings his hand back out, you can see that it looks to be a gauntlet has been put on of some kind. Edwin, as you do, there is no roll for this. This is going to be an auto success. As you cast the spell, you see Rainier attempting to convulse. Like he tries to reach up and like slash at you just with like a clawed hand, but you can see he sort of freezes for a moment and then relaxes as there is this deep breath that takes, and you can see that ink swelling begin to retract slightly. However, Edwin, you hear in your head this and as you do, there is this repulsion. As all of you see, Edwin heals Rainier to a degree, but you see Edwin is like pushed back away from him. It almost looks like the light is emanating from Rainier's chest, maybe, or maybe from Edwin himself. You're not exactly sure, but Edwin is like flung back across the room, skittering and sliding. As Edwin, you take, just from hitting the floor as hard as you did, you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage, and Edwin, you are paralyzed. As you see him just shaking, frozen in place, his eyes darting back and forth, and Edwin, you feel this pain. Like pins and needles all over your hand. As in that flash of light and Edwin being flung across the room, the gauntlet is no longer on his hand. You all do see Kaylin does return. However, it's incredibly strange. She said she was going to run back to her room, which is in the upper city, which would take some time, but she got back here incredibly quickly.
Yeah, as she comes back, she has like a small, weird, like purple vial. And she's going to immediately run over to where Rainier is. But she places her physical hand on his chest and kind of uncorking that vial with her teeth, she's going to drink that purple liquid.
Yeah.
And the moment that she does, there is this like, it's almost like that purple sludge that was in the bottle that she drank crawls over her eyes, and the irises of her eyes turn this dark, sickly purple.
Yeah. And as all of you see that happen, you can see Kaylin like freeze for a moment. Not like Edwin paralyzed, but like her body is in stasis, perfectly still. You can see as Rainier thrashes around her at this attempt to form a connection, you can see she is as still as stone. And you can see the shadows around the room kind of creep closer towards her like daggers. pointing at her. And whenever Rainier unleashes those bolts of lightning shooting up towards the roof, creating those black char marks, with every flash of lightning, the shadow that is cast by Kaylin atop her head are antlers, long, sprawling antlers, but only in the shadow on the ground, nowhere else. Kaylin, as you go into that realm, you hear what sounds like rain, almost like the pattering of rain and chimes. But there is this like repulsion almost. Something does not want you to be here. You should not be here right now. And as you come out of that chaos, the world around you is thin and blue and ethereal. And as you look up to where Rainier is, you can see this like disconnected form hovering above him. You can see him, Rainier, except you can see this like black undulating mass engrossing him, covering him, devouring him. What do you do, Kaylin?
Is there a spot where Edwin, like, can I see that where he attempted to heal Rainier?
Oh, the chest. Yeah. So that was that, like, the 3 talons, like, sort of branded in. And you can see there are what look to be, like, that's part of the area where that, like, black and red mass is sort of emanating from.
Kaylin's gonna run over and, like, put her mage hand into that.
Okay.
This might be dumb. I don't know. That's what she's doing.
No, yeah. In the ethereal plane, you move your hand into that, and you can feel it immediately make contact with this, like, scaly, squishy mass. Like tumorous, almost. You, like, reach into his chest, and you attempt to pull from it. Kaylin, as you are trying your best to, like, to rip and grab and pull, you can feel your fingers slipping through the mass. But not before you do end up tearing a small chunk out. However, Kaylin, as you were so focused on that, you didn't notice the tendrils from that undulating mass of black and red growing behind you. As it grips on to you, and you can feel those scaly tendrils, almost like dragon tails, gripping around you incredibly quickly. And as they whip you away, Kaylin, you are also in that moment shunted away from Rainier's body, flung halfway across the healing chamber. Okay. What else?
Yeah, so Via, I think what she would try to do, she's gonna go up to Rainier. I know he's like thrashing, but she's gonna just kind of like get as close as she can so that he can hear her. And she's gonna say, Uncle, whatever that thing is, that's not you. I know you. You're the person that would carry me to bed when I would fall asleep from studying too late. You are so strong. Please, you are stronger than that vicious, vile thing that is trying to take over you. Please hear me. That's all I got.
As you speak those words, you can see Rainier start to calm. You can see him start to thrash his head back and forth. His brow begins to furrow. You can see him trying to push it away. You can see him finding strength via. He's fighting it. He's actively fighting it now, thanks to your words.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she'll just stay there. Obviously, she's not trying to grab onto him, and she doesn't want to also end up paralyzed, but she'll stay near him and just kind of keep encouraging.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Xanthi, Merrick.
I guess Merrick will try here. It's
Okay.
got nothing interesting in his tool belt here, though. But yeah, he's just gonna move up, and he will attempt to take Rainier's hand into his own, even if the thrashing and even like the claws of his hand like hurt Merrick. Merrick will do everything he can to hold on for as long as he can during this process. He'll just say, Uncle, you need to fight through this. There's so much has happened while you were gone. We attacked a keep full of bandits. There must have been thousands of them. I fired a shot that took out 10 of them, and he will just basically retell the story of the keep, but he is going to over-embellish and exaggerate the story as he feels like Rainier would appreciate. And he will just end it with an earnest plea for him to come back so that he can hear the story under better circumstances.
Yeah. Okay. As you reach out, Merrick, as you speak this story, you recount the tale, you could just barely see the small beginnings of a smile at the corner of Rainier's lips. He hears you, and you can see he grits his teeth, and he tries to fight even more. He's getting close to potentially breaking free of something, maybe of whatever's trying to consume him, whatever's trying to do something to him. He's fighting back against it, and he's almost at the other end, Merrick. It seems as though your story had an effect on him.
I think Xanthi, she doesn't have magic shit, and I think that's really frustrating her in this moment, just seeing obviously the state that he is in. And so I think after kind of pausing, just like riling in her head what the hell she can even do to help here, I think she will also approach, and she's going to like try and help just like stop him from riling. And so she's got to just try hold him down as best she can, realize she just doesn't have the hands for it, and so instead just changes tact and is instead just going to basically just hug him as tightly as she can, just holding him that way, in a way that's like more controlled and pressured, you know, makes it more hard for him to kind of rile in any way.
Xanthi, as you bury your head down into his chest, you hug him tightly. As you close your eyes to do it, instead of darkness, as you close your eyes, there is a face in front of yours, eyes directly in front of yours, staring deep into your soul. And the voice says, "How much is a soul worth?" And Xanthi, as you open your eyes out of shock, still holding Rainier, you exhale and you feel Rainier, his tension loosens. And Xanthi, no skill check necessary. You auto succeed. As all of you see, for just a brief moment, this frost coat Rainier's body, and then immediately melt away from the heat in the room. Edwin, it seems as though whatever paralysis was gripping hold of you relinquishes, as those inky blots that were emanating from that branding mark, they slowly recede. But you can see his chest kind of goes concave for a moment, as if he's struggling to breathe, these labored breaths. And you can hear his heart. Xanthi, you can feel it on his chest, this irregular heartbeat, taking very long moments in between. Now that something isn't trying to take him, he is dying. You can see she looks to all of you very thankful, but she begins to work. As Solara has become rather renowned in Tomehold and in Crown's Rest, and for a lot of its area, for her melding of mechanical prosthetics, arcane materials, and organic life, trying to create these prosthetics that meld with flesh, as opposed to being separate from it. However, the first area she needs to start is an area where she has done very little work. Rainier's heart. He will not live with the heart that is currently being, or that was corrupted and partially consumed. He would die before the sun rose. So she begins to work.
In order for the transplant to be successful, there has to be no potential contamination. Solara is going to do her best to clean out the wound, remove any vestiges of corruption, place in the prosthesis, and hope that it works.
Father Weber, his hands like shaking, as this right here is one of the greatest heroes of Adaria in the current age of the kingdom, and he sort of moves his hands back, like shaking, holding the diamond in his hand. As the rest of the clerics move their hands back, the healing magic stops, and you see Rainier's chest rise, fall, and rise, and fall, and rise, and fall. And it does not rise again. As in this moment, right now, and for the next minute, Rainier Falkrest is dead. As you can see, Solara works incredibly quickly. She takes the arcane device, this prosthetic, this replacement, and places it into his chest. And she looks up to Waylon and shakes her head, and you can see he goes to the body. As he casts the spell, the diamond dissolves into crystalline dust as it coats the wound and seals it shut. However, now there is just this patch on his chest with bare skin, not covered by scales. A few moments pass. Nothing seems to be happening. But after about 15 seconds, Rainier's chest slowly rises and slowly falls. The breathing slow, but returned and regular. As you can see, all of the clerics sigh and sort of cry out in exclamation that it worked. Waylon, he says, "Gods be praised, gods be praised." I'd say at this point, the sun begins to rise. The healing chamber, as you asked that, Kayla, the healing chamber returning to that semblance of order. You can see Rainier resting uneasy, but his breath regulated. As the first golden rays of morning light stream through the high windows, illuminating all of your exhausted faces, you all gathered around your uncle's bedside. The door swings open as Talon enters. You can see his normal regal bearing replaced by obvious concern for his brother.
I had no idea. Gareth, he convinced me to take a sleeping drought last night. First for sleep I'd had in weeks, and of course this.
You see he places a hand gently on his brother's forehead.
How did you?
And he gestures toward Rainier.
Tell me everything. Please do not spare a single detail.
I mean, Merrick will recount exactly what happened to the best of his ability.
You all have done well, better than well. You saved his life.
You can see he turns back to Rainier, studying the chest and the wounds.
All council meetings and petitioners, they're suspended for the week. I have to be here with him. We need answers.
Morning light catches his face now. You can see his head and waist bereft of the crown and of Dragon's Bane.
All of you, please rest. I will stay by his side. All of you have done more than enough this evening. I am very proud of all of you. And I am so very thankful to all of you for saving me when I could not be.
As we cut back to the present day, as all of the children awake within the manor of the King's Hand.
Kaylin would actually, when she wakes up, find a note on her door when she exits, and it's from Merrick, basically inviting her to join him to go check on the dragon eggs in the pocket dimension.
Yeah, so you guys make your way up to Dragon's End and then eventually into the Archmage's Study. And you can see the two Crownclaw Knights currently guarding as they greet you.
Princess Kaylin, Prince Merrick.
Lady Kaylin.
Lady Kaylin, my apologies. Please, enter.
It's like this ethereal blue puddle that is in front of you that you can barely kind of see through, but you can see a small room, 2 guards, a pedestal, and 3 dragon eggs. So you two step
Merrick
through.
will yep.
You step through, there is no sound in here other than the just ambient noise of the room. There is a stillness in here, and it is hot. Probably in this room in particular, 80, 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Merrick will look to Kaylin, and then he'll just start to walk forward, and his eyes definitely looking more on the green one.
Merrick, as you reach out, you do feel it reach out to you as well. That same echoing in your head you can hear. You return.
Merrick's going to try in his head, trying to focus back on the voice. He's going to try to say, "Yes, I wanted to see how you were doing.
I am doing well. I'm not cold anymore.
Have you felt safe since last night?"
Yes. I felt like no one would try to hurt me or my siblings. Some of them wanted to destroy us, to hurt us.
I know.
The people here are going to take care of you. And through that care should come some sort of education. We'll make sure of that.
Thank you.
Merrick will approach, and he will just put his hand on the green egg. Not to lift it up or anything, but just to touch it.
You place your hand on the egg and you feel a connection. And as you close your eyes when you do it, you get this clear image, this serpentine dragon, incredibly small, very tiny in this current moment. Maybe the size of a 40, 50-pound dog, but you can see it has got these long, lithe limbs, this long snake-like neck that comes up into this dragon-like beak, and these scales of emerald green and sort of like opal white. And you can see these like little frills, little green, not frills, but like tendrils kind of coming off of its face that kind of move.
You can leave. Thank you for coming back.
I'll come when I can.
I very much look forward to it.
So the two of you eventually walk back the manor of the King's Hand. Now, the rain is still pouring on this day, but you have made it back safely to the manor. It is currently around 2 o'clock, probably now. The rain is still pouring outside, but it's up to you. Whatever you guys want to do. What's everybody doing?
Be able to go see Morgana today, if
Okay.
that's cool.
Sounds good. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. So, you leave the manor of the King's Hand, and you head back to the Archmage's Study. Yeah, you enter. The guards, the Crownclaw Knights, open and the door, and you step through, and Archmage Morgana is in there.
Hi. You wanted to talk about Isadora in here?
You can see she's kind of hovering her hand over the ruby dragon egg, and you can see her hand alight with magical runes.
Ah, yes, Lady Octavia, Princess. She turns. Thank you for answering my summons as soon as you could after all that nasty business with your uncle. Yes, I did, but it seems as though my request to learn more about Isadora seems to be unimportant now. If you don't mind, I think I have everything I need. There's something else I'd like to speak with you about, if that is all right, my princess.
Yeah. Archmage, I'm sure you are plenty aware that there's been just some weird stuff. It feels like related to the dragon's triarchy. And, well, I've had a few visions.
Yes, your visions, yes. Tell me about them.
It's mostly, it's really kind of traumatic, actually. I don't know if I don't know if it's good that we're just messing with all this stuff, right? Like, I have already made some mistakes.
Mistakes. But you're curious, no? You must be. My construct saw you. I asked for a book about the dragon's hierarchy, yes. You retrieved that as requested, but you also sought a few other books that you saw. 2 books in particular. One over the Malgorath treatise on draconic domination, and the ciphertext on draconic rituals. That is correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, we could say that was mere scholarly curiosity, but what if it was something more? Something guiding you to those books? Some vision that you had not been fully aware of in that moment?
No, I don't think so. Poppy and Isadora, we started getting into some stuff. Look, it was a mistake. So they wanted to know what the future held for them, and I've never looked that far into the future. And then I saw at Dragon's End, I just kept hearing beware the tides of crimson. I'm sorry, this is a little too much. Why do you want to know?
I need to know what you have seen. Octavia, these aren't just curiosities. This isn't arcane musings by some scholar in a laboratory. This could reshape the kingdom, Octavia.
No, it won't.
Have you seen their futures? If you are so afraid, you must have seen something. What might they become? Who will control them? You must know.
I don't know. It's this thing. It's a thing. It's with demonic horns, but it also is a dragon. And the whole world's just like burning, and I can't. I don't know. But this is not okay.
My princess, forgive me. Forgive me. My enthusiasm for knowledge sometimes overcomes propriety. I simply had hoped that you might use your gift to divine something of these eggs' fate, to help us prepare for what is coming. We will get you help, my princess. We will get to the bottom of this, and regardless of what ritual took place, it does not matter now. The past is the past.
I'm afraid if we stop doing the ritual, something bad could happen.
This is a ritual you repeat, then?
It's a draconic ritual that the 3 of us repeat every night.
Continue the ritual.
Are you sure? I sent them letters telling them to stop it.
You sent falcons, yes? I will send messages to those houses to make sure that those letters do not reach them. My concern is, should the ritual stop, what could happen? What we know is that you have been experiencing visions, but things have mostly been peaceful in Adaria since you started. My worry is that the initial ritual broke open the dam, but the next night, it was sealed up. And the next night, sealed up. The next night, sealed up. Should you stop, whatever thing you broke, whatever thing you started, could leak through. Who knows what
What's
it could
gonna
bring?
happen at the end of the ritual? And I don't even know how long. That's why I wanted the book about draconic language. I don't even know what we're doing.
Do you have the texts on the ritual?
No, we couldn't take it out of the book. There's 3 draconic words. 4. Power, blood, 3, cost. And it was a blood pact. This sounds so stupid now. Oh, God.
It is not stupid. I will travel to Arkenval and I will retrieve the book. They will not deny me taking anything from their libraries. I will do what I can to review this with the Master Diviner. And when you return from your next mission, whatever it may be, hopefully he will be here. And we can try and get some modicum of information from those visions and figure out how to stop it and how to end it properly. In many cases of communing with either divine or ghastly creatures, there is a very specific end to the ritual. I know for some mediums, those that divine to the other side, to the hells or to limbo, should the ritual not end, the spirits will leak out of the world. They will become vengeful spirits that hunt and hurt and kill. Do not stop the ritual, for we do not know what will happen if you do.
Thank you, Morgana. We made a huge mistake.
I would not be so sure just yet. Perhaps the ritual you started is what is allowing these dragons to return to life.
I don't want that.
I have read of reports the last time eggs fell from the Starwind Channel 1,500 years ago. These eggs are old. They should have long been hatched by now. In fact, on the depths of the sea, they probably died there. But I think perhaps, after what you have told me, that your ritual awoke them. And if you stop that ritual, you could very well kill them. And then, if you do that, you go against the council's wishes, some of your family members. I hear that Prince Merrick has made quite the connection with the green egg, the emerald one.
Right. Okay.
All right. We will figure this out, Princess. We will learn whatever afflicts you, and we will give it a rhyme and a reason, so you can divine confidently, and hopefully no longer with any ailments.
Thank you.
It is my sworn duty to serve the king, his hand, and the heirs.
Okay. Yeah. Is that, everything?
Yes. I believe I have pushed you very hard today, Princess Octavia, and I apologize greatly for that. It was improper. It did not follow the right decorums. I allowed myself to lose control in that moment, and I will not let that happen again. I apologize greatly.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, allow me to walk you out. And she'll kind of help you up, and you'll walk out together. And then you head back to the manor of the King's Hand. Anybody else got anything they want to do on this fine rainy day?
Yes.
Yeah, what's up, Merritt? What you got?
Well, I want to have my conversation, unless that's a no-go.
Do you? Yeah, sure, go for it. So we'll say after everything with Kaylin and Gareth showing up and taking a little bit of time for yourself, you end up heading out right around sundown. In the letter, Lady Alendra Malus, she does ask that you meet her at the Upper City Harbor to have your conversation there by the port.
Cool. Merrick will absolutely head there.
Lady Alendra Malus waits outside the storeroom, dressed as elegant as ever. Her bright auburn red hair sort of glistening with the lantern light around her. As she sees you, she is happy that you were able to make it on this day. She says,
Prince Merrick, thank you for coming on such short notice. After everything that happened with Rainier, I would have understood if you would have delayed our meeting. Well, indefinitely.
Well, I know more is coming for us eventually, so getting one thing checked off my list seemed like a wise decision.
Well, I think that while I do enjoy the ambiance of the harbor, I think it'd be best if we step inside. The harbor master has been kind enough to allow us to converse within his private office.
Probably a wise decision. Please lead the way.
you enter into the main floor of the storehouse, and there is a wide staircase that leads above to the office. She opens the door for you. You enter first, and inside the harbor stands Sharn Veltaris, facing the window, tall, imposing silhouette framed against the darkening sky and the harbor lights. She turns as the door opens, her green eyes sharp and calculating. As Lady Alendra looks to her and says,
I will ensure that you are not disturbed, my lady.
she bows and exits, closing the door behind her.
Hello, my son. It's good to see you this evening.
Mother, I did not realize that you were here. I was looking for your ship.
No, it was best to come quietly.
I understand what happened to your uncle. I am very sorry to hear about his unfortunate wounds. However, I would have preferred not to have stayed in Crown's Rest any longer than what I already have, so thank you for making the time for me now that has transpired. I do have questions that I would like to have answered. Serwyn Keep stood abandoned for decades. Yet suddenly the king sends his children there. What did you find within Serwyn Keep that caused the king's hand to stay there for so long? As I heard, one of the heirs stayed within Serwyn Keep at all times until Lady Valora Astralor's caravan arrived.
That is correct.
Well, what
we found
was it?
something, Mother. It's going to change everything. And she can see that like Merrick's like excited. Like she can tell his heart's beating like really quickly. Did she not tell you?
Tell me what? What did you find?
Merrick glances around, making sure like the door's shut. They're alone.
Yeah. Was it the gauntlet of Argro's nightmare? Or was it one of the Crimson Court's artifacts?
No, it was something else entirely. Mother, there were eggs, 3 of them.
3 dragon eggs. And you brought them back to Dragon's End, and they're within the keep now. Safe.
They're safe.
What does the council plan to do with these eggs, then?
Most of them wanted to destroy them.
But Talon decided to keep them?
After some convincing, yes.
I did not think he had it in him to wield a weapon that powerful.
It was his decision to save them in the end.
But you think this was a backup plan of the King in Crimson?
Can't say for certain, but we believe so. Whatever happened, though, he wasn't able to return.
If you're able to make a strong enough connection, you might be able to sway. It might hold allegiance to you rather than, well, of course it should be loyal to His Majesty, but a prince with a dragon would be hard to say no to.
I'll do what I can, but I'll find a way.
Yes, you will. There's my boy. Not lacking of conviction and not full of fear. Good. You do your house proud, my boy. Also,
Thank you, Mother.
your grandfather sends his regards. He's quite pleased with your appointment to the King's Hand, though he does wonder when you'll visit Kraken's Reach. It's been some time since you've seen him. He misses you, as he made sure that I stressed to you.
Please pass on that I miss him too.
And she'll move towards the door as she goes to sort of pull her hood up to cover her face, and she'll turn with her hand on the door handle and look back to you and say, "But my boy, remember where your true strength lies. It is not in a dragon. It is not in some relic of an ancient time like Dragon's Bane. It is in your will, determination. That is what has always set you apart. That is what makes you a proud Veltaris."
I will not forget, Mother.
Good.
I never will.
With that, she'll open the door, walk out, shut it behind her, leaving you alone within the harbor master's office. The rest of the day passes, and eventually night falls, as at this point all of you return to the manor of the King's Hand. Xanthi, your request was with one Sir Otis von Fem, Burgrave of Guildaro Keep. Xanthi, you wait for maybe an hour, as word eventually does reach Sir Otis, and he does arrive. Where is Xanthi at during this? Is she just kind of waiting in that sort of like foyer dining area for him to arrive? Eventually, Sir Otis of Guildaro arrives. You can see the purple and blue embroidered fabric, the sort of like a shoulder half cape hanging off of his side, and you can see there the emblem of his house, of the keep he is Burgrave of, which is that of an antelope, embroidered in silver fabric on the cloak.
And he says, "Thank you, my princess. It is a great honor that you would find the time to speak with me. I do come with a request, if you would graciously hear it out, my princess."
Well, of course. What is it that you have to say?
I come to Crown's Rest and to Dragon's End as a petitioner. You see, I had hoped to petition for some additional enforcement along the roads and the keeps. A declaration of sorts. One stating that the Adarian Watch will expand, and that the days of unchecked banditry and raiders preying upon our lands would come to an end.
I do believe that it is the crown's power as the people's power. If the crown is powerful, it is power that the people has. Anyone that does fear such, well, those are the ones that should be petitioning my father. No one in Adaria that seeks to only do good for Adaria has anything to fear from the crown.
I agree, my princess. I mean, especially with what has been stirring up within the Serpent's Grove, the whispers I hear. It's a different breed that comes from those woods. Of course, no offense to your dear sister. I promise I meant no offense.
No, I would value the information.
I am a man who likes to come into any situation with a plan. But after doing some research and speaking with other Burgraves around Adaria, and friends of mine from my years of adventuring, the plan that we have is 10,000 gold.
With 10,000 gold, there would be enough funding for 1,000 additional Adarian watch soldiers to garrison keeps and patrol neglected roadways, not just the main roads, but even smaller roads that connect, say, the main roads to a city like Rosemont. Now, I, plus 50 other Burgraves, would ensure that these Adarian watch are provisioned, that they have a place to stay, and that they have everything they need in order to succeed on their mission. I personally think it would be best if there are individuals that assist on a wider scale, making sure that everything is as organized as possible. One individual I can think of that would excel in a role like that.
And the funds in order to supply these soldiers. They would need to be soldiers, not mercenaries.
Correct. I think using the people of Adaria, asking for people to enroll from all over the nation. I know, at least from the small fortress that I watch over and the surrounding villages, there are men and women all over Adaria that are chomping at the bit to be able to defend their countryside, protect it from those bandits. They just don't have the tools. They don't have the training necessary. That's something that...
And they have not been sent here for that training. For what reason?
Well, the Crown limits the amount of Adarian watch that they keep active at any one time. So although they wish to perhaps do something more, they are denied the right to defend their home unless they purchase the weapons and provisions themselves. I do have one final request, though, if you may be willing to accommodate.
I'll listen to it.
You see, I have a writ here, and he kind of takes out a peach parchment, not sealed, but sort of rolled up and put in a leather tube to protect it, and he kind of takes it out and he unrolls it. And you can see that it's the petition that he just described to you, written out very clearly in exact details. And you can see he sort of takes it and he will sort of rewrites over a part of it. And it, like, what was there kind of fades away a bit. And the rewrite happens. And he says, as is customary in Adaria, should I arrive with a signed writ by a benefactor of some sort from the court, not only does it carry a great deal of weight as a petitioner, but to the court as well, being present. They see it as a much stronger proposal. If you would be willing, my princess, I think your signature would not only do a great deal to convince King, but also to convince those in the court that this is the best decision.
I imagine she's just like reading over everything very carefully.
And do not worry about the editing of the document. You see, until it is signed at the bottom, you can freely go and make any revisions you like. But as soon as it is sealed, the ink is as permanent as stone.
I will also be transparent with you, Sir Otis. Due to recent matters, it will also be us that will hear out any petitions, not my father.
I think I have an idea. For one, I'm glad to see that the king trusts his hand with such important duties as petitioners. I think with this signed writ, I believe that I could go and speak to a few nobles that I know share an alignment to us. And perhaps I could have all the funding we need by the time I come to petition my case. And then all it needs is the approval of the hand of the king.
I believe that would be preferable. If you're able to secure such support, after all.
I will do everything in my power, princess.
And I think with that, then she will sign it at the bottom. That's what he wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Xanthi Falkrest. Give him your John Hancock. Yes, you can sign the paper at the bottom. And you can see
Very
that.
fancy signature.
Oh, yes, of course.
It's very nice. Just to let everyone know at home.
You can see that as you sign at the bottom, it's this strange thing that happens to the paper. It's like it goes the parchment over every single letter. It's like burned in, unable to be edited now that it has been signed. As you read it over again after the signature, just to make sure everything's still there, it's all still the same. Nothing changed when the everything was finalized. And he will take the writ and he'll roll it up and he'll put it in the parchment or in the leather tube and sling it around his shoulder and say,
My princess, I will do everything in my power to ensure that I come as prepared as possible to
Good.
my petition. Thank you for your
See
support.
to it that my trust is not misplaced.
My princess, if I may be so bold, I do not think that you have a more ardent supporter within Crown's Rest than me.
and he will gives a very, very deep bow and turn and exit. And we will just have to see what all of this has in store for us next week as we dive into who is petitioning the crown for what. Will the king's hand choose to approve the petition for more Adarian watch soldiers? What is their next mission? And where will they go and what will they have to do? But that will be next time. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Much love, much kindness. Thank you all. Stick our 21 people right now. What the freaking heck, man? You guys are the freaking best. And I hope you have a freaking great rest of your weekend, guys.